Good morning, everyone, and welcome to the 2020 Champions Together Breakfast. My name is Kathleen Roach, and I am the President and CEO of Special Olympics Wisconsin. Thank you for being here with us virtually this morning as we celebrate the young athletes of Special Olympics Wisconsin. These children across the state have superpowers that we're very excited to tell you about. For more than 50 years now, Special Olympics programs have changed lives all over the world. They've also helped turn the tide toward a more inclusive society where people with intellectual disabilities can live with dignity and respect, basic human rights that they haven't always been afforded. Although Special Olympics has made considerable progress, many of the 5 million athletes around the world can still vividly recall their experiences with exclusion, bullying, or a system that fails people with intellectual disabilities. However, Special Olympics athletes can also tell stories of overcoming obstacles, experiencing the exhilaration of being included in Special Olympics, and the pride that comes along with calling yourself a Special Olympics athlete. Here in Wisconsin, we have almost 9,000 proud Special Olympic athletes, and most of them have familiar stories of adversity, struggle, and ultimately triumph. Through our programming in sports, leadership, inclusive schools, and health, we've been lucky enough to go along for the ride as athletes experience the thrills of triumph on the playing field and in their communities. Our Young Athletes program helps to build the foundation for inclusion at an early age. Children from 2 to 10 with and without intellectual disabilities come together for inclusive sports experiences that also help kids to understand the importance of treating people different from them with dignity and respect. If we can build the foundation early, it's something that will stick with them for life. It becomes their superpower. Through Young Athletes, we're not just looking to prepare the next generation of Special Olympic athletes. We're looking to create responsible citizens of the world who value people with intellectual disabilities and prioritize inclusion. Before I turn things over to your host, I'd like to recognize our amazing sponsor, Wintrust Commercial Banking at Town Bank, for helping make this event possible as we celebrate our Young Athletes program. These athletes are future champions in sport and in our communities. By supporting them, you are supporting a better world, a movement towards inclusion, acceptance, and equality. Thank you all for joining us today, and please consider making a donation so we can continue to open hearts and minds and create inclusive communities across Wisconsin and beyond. This is their superpower, and it all starts with young athletes.
The Young Athletes program is part of the Special Olympics. It's for kids from age 2 to 10.
And why it's so unique is because it brings together kids with intellectual disabilities and without intellectual disabilities, and they play and learn sports together. It teaches the young athletes to learn fundamentals, to learn how to catch, to learn how to throw balls, to learn how to hit, to do all sport-related type of events through unifying them together.
You know, a lot of kids with special needs don't get a lot of opportunities to go on field trips that are accessible to them. You know, I have several kids that are in wheelchairs and they can participate fully.
They're learning the exact skill together, side by side with each other, helping each other succeed. And that's what it's all about, is helping each other succeed and not excluding anybody.
Good morning. I'm Vince Vitrano, Chairman of the Board of Directors for Special Olympics Wisconsin. Thank you so much for spending some time with us this morning. I am excited for our chat this morning with former Green Bay Packer, NFL All-Pro, 4-time Pro Bowler, and Super Bowl 45 champion Josh Sitton. And I'm also excited for you to meet one of our Special Olympics families. Now, while Special Olympics Wisconsin serves people of all ages, we're going to focus primarily today on our Young Athletes program. As you saw in the video, Young Athletes is a sports and play opportunity for children 2 to 10 years old with and without intellectual disabilities. Young Athletes introduces basic sports skills like running, throwing, and catching. It's fun, it's an inclusive program that readies children with intellectual disabilities to fully participate in our Special Olympics programs as they get older. My favorite part is it teaches children without disabilities the importance of inclusion, since they share in these activities. That's part of our unified sports revolution. For its first 50 years, Special Olympics has been focused on helping our athletes get a chance to play at all. The future for us is getting all of us playing together. I've mentioned before that I frequently have athletes or families or caregivers tell me, I don't know what we would do without Special Olympics. They say this because Special Olympics is about so much more than the games that we play and the sports training and events we put on. For many of our athletes, it's the only exercise they get on a regular basis. For many of our athletes, it's the only recreation they can count on. And for some, it's even a first point of health care, as our programs provide opportunities for health, wellness, and even dental screenings. But it's more even than all of that. For our athletes, Special Olympics Wisconsin is foundational. It's how they identify themselves first. You ask me, who are you? I'd tell you I'm a father, I'm a husband, I anchor the news on TV. You ask our people, who are you? Many of them will tell you first, I am a Special Olympics athlete. It's their center. It's a social network. It's a friendship circle. It's where they are welcomed and feel they belong. It's where they're challenged and feel success. It's where people focus not on what they cannot do, but finally on all of the things that they can. It is their foundation. So when athletes tell me they don't know what they would do without Special Olympics, they mean they don't know what life would look like without Special Olympics. Now, sadly, because of COVID this past year, some of us have found out what life is like without Special Olympics, and it's not good. One of our athletes called me near tears the other day. Said, Vince, I miss my friends. I miss my teammates. I miss my coaches. I miss Special Olympics. And then she added, and I'm out of shape, Vince. I don't know about all that, but fortunately, our Special Olympics Wisconsin staff has been able to create a back-to-play plan that did get some of our athletes back into action once again this fall. We did golf, we did bocce ball, punt, pass, and kick, as well as cornhole. We did it all outside and safe. And with your support today, we'll continue adapting our programs so that we can get more of our athletes back on the court, on the playing field, on the track, and in the pool. They are anxious to do that, and they're counting on all of us. I know we won't let them down. Again, thank you so much for being with us this morning. Next year, I promise we'll buy you breakfast. Up next, we have a special shout out.
Hey everyone, it's Steve Novak, former Marquette Golden Eagle and Milwaukee Buck, and this is my little buddy Clutch. And we both want to give a huge shout out to Special Olympics Wisconsin for all the incredibly important work that they continue to do. We all strive to become champions on and off the court, and that starts when you're young. That's when you're learning fundamentals, the rules of the game, teamwork, and the importance of respecting others and accepting differences. The young athletes involved with Special Olympics are developing great skills that will last a lifetime. And that's why we are asking for you to help support Special Olympics Wisconsin here today. What they learn through this program will make them better athletes, but it will also make them better people. And that's what really counts. We can't wait to see the amazing things these young athletes go on to do. And we thank you for supporting Special Olympics Wisconsin. From me and my little sleepy buddy Clutch.
In today's divisive times, programs that promote inclusion are more important than ever. Special Olympics Young Athletes program teaches children about the importance of inclusion at a time in their lives when it's most likely to stick. My name is Jenna Lang, and I'm the Young Athletes Manager for Special Olympics Wisconsin. Young Athletes is an innovative sport and play program for children ages 2 through 10 years old with and without intellectual disabilities. Participants learn sports skills completely side by side, developing physical, emotional, and social skills, and learning to recognize shared humanity and embrace differences. The kids always have a great time, but the inclusive spirit of the program has lasting effects too. Special Olympics research has shown that 91% of participants' parents agree that young athletes made them more hopeful about their child's future. And after just 2 months of participation in young athletes, children with intellectual disabilities experienced 7-month gains in motor skills. While we're proud of the impact we're making on children across the state, even during the middle of a pandemic through our virtual programming, we need to reach many more kids, and now. We know the schools are just as ready as we are to bring the transformative power of this program to their students. Thank you for considering the Young Athletes program, where we're helping to make a more inclusive world, one child at a time.
Again, I want to thank you so much for spending some time with us today, and I'm really excited to introduce you to one of our Special Olympics Wisconsin families. This is Tammy Zwicky and her son, Cody. Cody, how old are you?
Yes.
That? 6? You're 6 years old?
Yes.
And you're one of our young athletes. What sports do you like to play?
Football.
Which one?
Football.
Baseball?
Oh, baseball.
Yes.
Yes. Do you play other sports also? Yes. Do you play all the sports?
Yes.
Yes, he plays all the sports. Tammy, it's so great for you to come and share your story with us today, and Cody's fantastic. Also, if he just runs off and whatever, totally fine, right? Cody's just here to be him. Tell us a little bit about your son and your family.
Well, thanks for having us here. We appreciate that. Well, Cody, he's 6 years old, right? How old are you?
Yes.
6. And he has Down syndrome. So basically, he was a birth diagnosis. So what that means is we didn't know that he would have Down syndrome. And then when he was born, his doctor said, you know, does he look like anyone else in your family? And we're like, well, of course he does. He looks just like my brother. He looks like any other baby. Right. And then we found out that through blood tests that he did have Down syndrome. So that was 6 years ago. And ever since then, it's sort of been like a learning curve. Mm-hmm. What is Down syndrome? What does that mean? And at first, it was really scary. You know, you get a diagnosis like that and you don't know, you know, what your child's life is going to be like. It's all new to you as well. And so we've been learning as we've been going as well.
You know, I know so many Down syndrome families, and when I talk to parents, they universally say, no one going into parenthood says, I hope I have a child who has Down syndrome. However, as they work through that process and you discover the gifts that you have in Cody and your special child, there is that recognition of really the treasure that you have.
Yeah, and not only that, but I mean, we treat him like any other kid. I mean, there's obviously he's going to have certain things that he has to work on, maybe a little harder than other kids, possibly, or maybe he needs a little extra help. Ever since he was 6 months old, he's had occupational therapy, he's had physical therapy, speech. Right now, speech is probably one of his biggest delays. Looks like he's trying to sneak away now. Cody, are you sneaking away?
No.
Okay, stay over here. So we've been doing the therapy since he was 6 months old. Mm-hmm. He started the Birth to 3 program, and then through that, he actually got involved with St. Francis Children's Center, which actually brought in Special Olympics.
Okay, cool.
So
that's how you
got
discovered
involved.
Special Olympics.
Mm-hmm.
Can you tell us a little bit about how that changed things for Cody, for your family, when he had this in his life?
It's been amazing. First of all, we've always looked for things that help with physical therapy for him. When he aged out of the Birth to 3 program, all of a sudden he didn't qualify anymore. But he was born, like with a lot of kids with Down syndrome, with low muscle tone. He used to have ankle braces. He's just sort of floppy. If he's on the playground, he had a hard time like holding onto the bars, like the monkey bars, and climbing. And sometimes it wasn't even just the physical strength, but just even balance, stuff like that. So we were always looking for different activities to get him involved with. And so one year at St. Francis Children's Center, they offered Special Olympics. So that was 2 years ago in the summer, and he got to do a summer program. And it's been, you know, we've been with it ever since. It's been awesome.
I hear from so many families as well that Special Olympics is wonderful, not just for their young athlete, but for you as a mom to find a place for Cody where he can be fully accepted, where he's included, where we talk all the time about this is what you can do today instead of, no, you can't do this, you can't do that. That's a place where he can go and just be the best of him.
That's true. And not only that, but he's making friends. He's part of a team. They always get a T-shirt when they first start off, so that's like, he has that team feeling. The first Special Olympics that he joined was in person, so he got to I mean, he had to learn how to follow rules, do the
Speaking
different
of
activities.
which,
Yeah.
probably
What are you trying to
we're not
do?
supposed to take the microphone. I don't know, man. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to
I
interrupt
think he
you.
wants
It's
to
just-
join in.
It needed to be addressed.
You want to join in?
Are you a rock star, Cody, or what's happening here? Also still a little shy.
Yeah.
No, but I love that. He's part of the team, and that means a lot to him.
Yeah, but also he's learning skills and techniques that are going to help him throughout his life. And but not only that, but he's got to learn to follow directions and learn how to do certain things. And when they were at St. Francis Children's Center, they would do group activities, team activities, things like walking on the balance beam, throwing the ball, group activities, and all of those. And since COVID hit, it's been even more because they took away, almost all his therapies. He wasn't in school; everything's shut down. And so then here's our kid at home in our small, tiny house, and we don't really have. I mean, we just couldn't get enough physical activity for him. And so when St. Francis actually Special Olympics offered virtual programming, we jumped on it right away. So that was in March this year. So he started virtual Special Olympics. Actually, the Young Athletes program, which is from kiddos that are like 2 years old till 10, and it's sort of the precursor to actual Special Olympics.
Well, we look forward to seeing a lot from Cody, the athlete, in the years to come, certainly.
Thank you.
Let me just ask you now, we have a lot of folks who've decided to join us and given us their time today. On behalf of Cody and your family and all his fellow athletes, what would your ask be of people who are with us today?
Just give what you can, because it's a really wonderful organization and program, starting with little kids, toddlers, 2 years old till 10, all the way to adults, teens. It's a lifelong skills that they're learning. They're learning things, their fine motor skills, their gross motor skills, but also learning how to hit a baseball, how to throw a ball, how to kick a soccer ball, how to, do those certain things that they might need a little more help with. And I've seen so much growth in him each week, just being able to do those activities. And so if anyone is able to donate anything, it would be wonderful. The more the better. You're helping out kiddos like Cody and all his little friends, but also supporting not only the activities, but the materials that go with it. Because there's kits of, hula hoops and balls and things like that. And our family actually was lucky enough to get one of those kits, and we're using that. So he has a balance beam, he has a soccer kit, and we're just so grateful.
Well, I am grateful that we're able to do that for you and for Cody and for all of his little friends, as you said.
Yeah, he's got lots of friends.
Cody, we'll get you on the baseball field again real soon, all right, man?
Do you like baseball? Yeah. Do you want to play baseball? What about soccer ball?
We got a rock star here, too. I think we need to look into that.
Yeah, maybe this is a Christmas gift.
Thank you so much. Cody, thank you.
You say thank you? Well, thank you so much.
We are just moments away from talking with Green Bay Packers great Josh Sitton. Josh is standing by. In the meantime, I want to thank all of you again for being with us this morning, and I want to ask you directly for your support. The cost to keep one of our athletes in year-round programming with Special Olympics Wisconsin is just $757. We set a goal for this event to raise $30,000 today. I'm not real good at math, but our fantastic staff tells me that would fund year-round sports training and competition for 40 of our Special Olympics athletes here in the state of Wisconsin. With more than 9,000 athletes across our great state, we need your help. I know some of you have already, I can see some of you have already joined our team and contributed today, so we thank you so much for that. Please hit the donate button on your screen, open your hearts and your wallets, and support our great champions. Well, it's a real honor to be joined this morning by Green Bay Packer great Josh Sitton. Josh played 11 years in the National Football League, most of them, as you know, of course, with our Green Bay Packers. Josh is an all-pro offensive lineman, 4-time Pro Bowler, and Super Bowl champion. And Josh is also donating his time to be here with us this morning. Josh Sitton, great to see you, man. How you feeling these days?
I appreciate it. Thank you for the great intro. I'm feeling great. Living life down here with my family in Pensacola, Florida, and enjoying every day.
You know, the National Football League is a particularly brutal sport, particularly for you guys in the trenches. I wonder, now with some time outside the league and not waking up on Monday morning like you got in a car wreck, how is your health and how are you feeling?
I'm feeling great, actually. I think I got out just in time. I think I retired just in time where I could at least have some of my body to myself. You know, it's a like you said, it's a brutal sport and it takes a toll on you. So I definitely have some aches and pains here and there. But I've lost a little weight. I'm exercising a lot. So I feel really great. I think like I said, I was lucky to get out kind of when I did and not try and get those last 2 or 3 years in, because I really do feel good.
That's a hard decision, though, isn't it, man? Because you love the game, and maybe the mind is willing, but you have to realize when the body isn't.
Yeah, I think so. I always wanted to kind of go out on my own terms, and I didn't want to be the guy that stuck around those extra few years and not be able to play up to my standard. And if I'm not out there giving my team the best version of myself, then I didn't want to be out there playing. So, yeah, it was a difficult decision, but I think I made the right decision on when to get out. It was pretty cool. I actually made the decision on my son's birthday when he was born that morning. So that having a second kid kind of had a lot to do with it. So just wanted to spend that time with the family and watch my kids grow up.
Well, I know Packer fans are glad that you're able to do that. We're so grateful for the memories that you helped provide for us. Let's walk down memory lane a little bit and Super Bowl 45. That was such an interesting team. You guys slid in there, I think, were the 6th seed, correct? I mean, you had to go 3 on the road, which isn't unprecedented, but doesn't happen too often that the 6th seed goes in, rips off 3 wins on the road, and then wins the whole thing. When did you guys know that was going to happen?
Well, we knew, I want to say the Giants lost to Philadelphia in the last second punt return. I think week, 13 or 14, something like that. And that was really the reason we got a shot to be in the playoffs. So we knew we had to win the last 2 to get in. And we knew if we got in, then we would have a chance. But we all said this in the locker room. And we had this, this conversation out loud. If we go in and beat Philadelphia, we know we're going to go win the Super Bowl. And I mean, we all said it. We knew it. We knew that beating Philly on the road was going to be our biggest challenge. Aaron kind of had he was a little salty about Atlanta because we lost earlier in the year in Atlanta, and he fumbled on the 1-yard line going in on a QB sneak. And I want to say Matt Ryan made the Pro Bowl and Aaron didn't that year. So I knew that he was going to be a little pissed off, pardon the language. And we knew we were going to go in there and beat them. And we knew we were going to go beat them pretty good. And then we knew we were going to beat Chicago in Chicago. We always do. Our record was pretty flawless against Chicago. So we knew we would go into Chicago and win. And we knew that the talent in the AFC and the teams just weren't quite up to par with the NFC. So we knew if we got in the game, we would end up winning it. So we were very confident going into the playoffs. I
remember the weeks leading up then to the Super Bowl, Josh. There was so much made of a team that had been there before and the experience that Pittsburgh was bringing in, and a lot of your guys had not had that postseason experience and certainly a Super Bowl. What was that week like, and how did you all take that business-like approach?
Well, we knew that, and we heard all the hype about it. I want to say we only had 2 or 3 guys on the team that had Super Bowl experience. John Kuhn, Ryan Pickett, and maybe 1 or 2 others. So we knew that, but I think Coach McCarthy led us correctly. We went about our work like we did every week that led up to that. So we didn't treat it any differently. And I think that was the key. And that was really the key to Mike's success throughout his entire career in Green Bay. He kept a routine and he kept every week the same. And we prepared the same way. And from the top down, we all knew the message. And Mike always did a great job of doing that. And he did the same thing leading up to the Super Bowl.
You're Super Bowl 45 champion. I wonder, and don't be shy about it, how often do you wake up and in the course of a day maybe, or maybe it's every few, but how often do you kind of look down at that ring every now and then or conjure up those memories and think about that experience and how much it means to you?
Hold on, my phone is messing up. Sorry. There we go. That's funny, man. When you're in the game, you're you don't really sit down and think about it. When you're, still playing, you don't sit down and look, go look down memory lane. But when you retire, you start really looking around, and, I've got all these great Packer players' jerseys on my wall that I get to walk in and see. And you start reliving those moments, and you think, man, these are some of the best moments of my life. And the moment that we beat Chicago and knew we were going to Super Bowl was probably the best moment for me. And I always replayed in my head. I actually watched the run of the Super Bowl, the highlights and stuff, actually just a few weeks ago. And I'm hugging Donald Driver after the game, and it's one of the best memories of my life. And I definitely think about it very often, and it's very special, and I'm very blessed to have been a part of it.
We all think about it often too, so don't be ashamed of it. We're just the fans, and I tell you, I think about the Super Bowl quite a bit here as a fan. Let me ask you about that night then. You've won the whole thing. You've reached this pinnacle that so few players actually, when you think about how many guys have played in the league and how few have rings. What was that night like? I mean, you don't have to sell anybody out, but anybody get crazy that night?
I did. I'll sell myself out. I was. They have the suites on the ground floor at Jerry World, and somebody handed me a beer on the field. I was sitting there chugging Miller Lite on the field, so I didn't care. I was feeling no pain that day. It was pretty incredible. You think about all those times as a kid, 5, 6, 7 years old, dreaming about playing football in the NFL and watching all these greats as you grow up, and you get to live that dream, and it all kind of came together like boom. You saw this flash in your head of all these memories of growing up and dreaming about that day, and it all came together. It's like boom, and it hit you. It's such a surreal feeling. It was one of the most incredible feelings of my life, and we definitely had some fun that evening.
Let me ask you a little bit about playing with Aaron, particularly you guys on the O-line. Every time we hit a national broadcast or whatever, the sportscasters are talking about the hard count. It's something that they like to talk about with Aaron. He's up there for a long time. You break the huddle, and you can be sitting there sometimes in your stance, ready to go. You've got multiple things that have been called. You got to be up there wondering, is he changing the play? What was the snap count anyway? What are we going off of? How challenging is that for you and for guys on the O-line to work with that thing that, brings about some success and some advantages, but it has to be a challenge for you guys?
I think the biggest challenge is sitting in our stance for that long,
right.
Burning our legs. I mean, we'd be sitting in practice like, all right, Aaron, come on, speed this thing up. My legs are dying. Or like in a walkthrough, he'd be going through like 19 counts. We're like, come on, man, speed it up. We just had training camp practice, like speed this up. But in the game, it's one of the best things that you can have as an offensive line. When you play on the road, you don't have that advantage, obviously, because of the crowd noise. That's one of the worst things to face as an offensive lineman. Your advantage is knowing the snap count. And when it's kind of even playing field, like on the road when there's so much noise, it's not very fun. But yeah, you get used to it over the years. You start learning it. And really, I could not even hear the snap count, and I would know what we were going on based on the inflection in Aaron's voice. Mm-hmm. You kind of got used to hearing that over and over and over, and you just kind of knew where he would emphasize certain syllables or whatever the volume of it. I always could just pick up on that. So over the years, you just get used to it, and it's a huge advantage for the offensive line. So I can promise you, every one of those guys loves it.
Well, Aaron and this offense exploded out of the gates this year. Now, if you read a lot of social media, it's either because he's no longer with Danica Patrick, or some other strange reason, or he's mad about who we drafted, or whatever. I imagine you would tell me it's just so hard to pick up a new system, and this team is 1 year further in Matt LaFleur's system. Can you talk about how challenging it is? Particularly, we're not talking about installing a new play here or there. It's a whole new system, and how challenging that is.
Well, it's like learning a new language. Every NFL team runs the same offense, basically. There's zone plays to the left, there's zone plays to the right. Every offense probably has the same exact route tree that all the receivers run, with maybe a few little differences. The way you combo block with the offensive lineman next to you is all the same across the NFL, but each playbook is its own language. So it can be very daunting. I know when I went from Green Bay to Chicago, we kind of had a number system in Green Bay, and then everything was words in Chicago. So like code words. So I had to go in and learn every code word in a matter of 5 or 6 days. And it is very, very challenging. And you got to think Aaron was basically in the same system for 12, 13 years, whatever it was. You know, it obviously varied year to year, but basically the same system and the same verbiage for a very long time. So it's definitely challenging to learn a new offense. I'm sure they took some stuff that Aaron wanted and held it over from his past. But yeah, any amount of time that you get in a system is going to be very beneficial. And honestly, I was kind of surprised that they started out so hot with the way they didn't have the off season.
Right.
Obviously they got to do it virtually and whatnot, but I would have thought it would have been a little bit more challenging for them to start. But it's been really fun to watch. I've enjoyed every game so far.
You mentioned having gone from the Packers to the Bears. I just wonder, we got a lot of folks in the business community here with us watching today, and everybody in our workplaces talks about business culture. I wonder if that's the case also within the National Football League. Is the culture so different at 1265 Lombardi than it is down there in Chicago or in Miami?
Yeah, I think so. The biggest difference, I think, is not having an owner versus having an owner. It is such a business in most places, and it's a business in Green Bay. Don't get me wrong, but it's there's no ulterior motives in Green Bay. It is strictly 100% about winning championships, winning Super Bowls. There's no other BS about it. It's about winning Super Bowls, and that the second you get there, that from the top down, everyone preaches that same message all the time. There's nothing else that matters except for winning Super Bowls. And that right away when you go in. And I'd say that's probably the biggest difference in Green Bay and other places.
Fans are fans everywhere, Josh, but I guess, I don't know, I've never lived anywhere else but Wisconsin, but I certainly have heard from other players in the past that there is a special relationship between Packers fans and this team. I imagine especially for an O-lineman too, because fans seem to be so knowledgeable about the game in Green Bay. I mean, I lived and worked up there. Not a lot of other communities where O-linemen have their own radio shows and stuff, but people know and appreciate the work that you guys do, every position. Can you talk a little bit about that, the knowledge that fans have and the relationship that you had with them in Green Bay?
Well, I mean, it's definitely the best fan base that I've seen. Like you said, the most knowledgeable. And it's a very intimate relationship because Green Bay is so small. At other places I've played, you're in this big city, so you're a small fish in those big cities. So it's such an intimate relationship, and the fans are so passionate. It's so incredible. I would ask guys on other teams all the time, and they just wanted to check off that list of going to be able to play at Lambeau. Because it's such a special place and the fans are so amazing. And I always thought that was cool. Guys are like looking forward to like circling on their calendar to when they're coming to play at Lambeau. But yeah, I mean, it's an incredible place. The fans are unbelievable. They're so knowledgeable. They're so passionate. There was no better place to play than Green Bay.
That's about what I was looking for on that. Good. Thanks, Josh. Let me ask you a little bit about Special Olympics. We're here providing opportunities for people of all abilities to play sports together, sports being such an important part in your life, to know that we have folks here who are looking to help us out and to allow young people, people young and old, of all abilities to have the opportunity to participate in sports. What would your ask be of people who are joining us today as we look to support that mission?
Well, I'd say thank you to you and everyone else that's a part of this mission, first of all, and thank you to all the fans that are watching, that are joining this and trying to be a part of it. sports were so important and so integral in my life. You get to grow up and learn about teamwork. You get to learn about all different diversities, and you get that culture, and you learn how to work with everyone. And it's so important. And I think it's so crucial for everyone to get that opportunity. So I'd ask that you help out in any way that you can. And just watching, you're supporting right now. But any way that you can help is greatly appreciated. Sports are so special. Obviously, I'm very blessed that it led me to my career and the life that I have. So it's very important to me, and it's going to be important to my children and everyone going forward. So thank you very much for supporting and being here and watching, and pull out those checkbooks a little bit and help us out.
Josh, it's been so great catching up with you. I'm glad you're in good health, and thanks for so many great memories, including that Super Bowl championship. Wonderful to see you.
Yeah, absolutely. You too. I appreciate you having me.
All right, Josh Sitton of the Green Bay Packers. Thanks so much. I want to send things one final time back over to our president and CEO, Kathleen Roach.
Thank you, Vince. And thank you, Josh, for taking the time to be here with us today and for sharing some of your incredible experiences with us. And once again, thank you all for spending your morning with us here today. I hope you enjoyed hearing inspiring stories from athletes and community leaders while learning a little bit about Special Olympics Wisconsin, our mission, and how our Young Athletes program helps athletes triumph in sports and your communities. We also hope you recognize how transformative young athletes can be when enacted on a large scale. As more and more students with and without ID go through the program, their schools become more inclusive and welcoming. Ultimately, so do their communities. Everyone knows Special Olympics is in the sports game, but when it comes down to it, we're really in the inclusion game. Sports are the vehicle for transforming society and bringing about a world less consumed by what divides us and more focused on what we share and what brings us together. The support and generosity from all of you helps to pave the way for the future champions of inclusion who will help bring this about. I have confidence they'll make it happen because it's their superpower. On behalf of everyone at Special Olympics Wisconsin, thank you for spending your morning with us and making a donation to help our Young Athletes program. We hope that you enjoy the remainder of your day. Stay safe and stay healthy.